Nestled in the hills of Cornwall, Connecticut, in a dense forest, so thick sunlight barely reaches the ground, sits a place called Dudleytown. You won't find it on most maps. You can't visit it. The Dark Entry Forest Association, the private group that owns the land, has banned all access. Trespassers are prosecuted. Trail cameras watch the tree lines. Security patrols the perimeter. They say it's to protect the ecosystem. Locals say that's not why. The story begins in 1510, in England, with a man named Edmund Dudley. Edmund was a minister to King Henry VII, trusted, powerful, useful. Then Henry VIII took the throne, decided Edmund was a liability, and had him executed for treason. The Dudley name was cursed, people said, touched by royal wrath, and in the superstitious language of Tudor England, that kind of stain didn't wash off. It passed through bloodlines like rot through old wood. Edmund's descendants tried to leave it behind. Some emigrated to the American colonies in the 1740s, including three brothers, Barzillai, Abiel, and Gideon Dudley, who settled in the hills of Connecticut. They built homes. They farmed. They tried to start over. The land didn't cooperate. The soil was thin and rocky, nearly impossible to cultivate. Crops failed. Animals died without explanation. The forest pressed in from every side, dark and dense, and the few roads that connected Dudleytown to the outside world were steep and treacherous. Neighbors avoided the place. Those who moved in often didn't stay long, but the Dudleys stayed, and the tragedies followed. General Herman Swift built his home near the village in the late 1700s. He was a decorated Revolutionary War officer, a man who had survived battles, hardship, frontier life. He was not a man who frightened easily. His wife went mad. The official record says she was struck by lightning, but neighbors reported she had been increasingly erratic for months before the storm, muttering to herself, refusing to leave the house, terrified of something she couldn't or wouldn't name. After the lightning strike, she never spoke coherently again. Swift never recovered from losing her. He died broken, some say haunted himself. In the mid-1800s, John Brophy moved to Dudleytown with his family. Within 2 years, his wife was dead, his children had died of an unknown illness, and Brophy had fled the property, claiming the woods were alive with something malevolent. He never elaborated on what he meant. He never went back. Then, there's Nathaniel Carter, who sold his Dudleytown land and moved away, only for his entire new family to be slaughtered by Native Americans in what witnesses described as an unprovoked, random attack. Historians note the timing, folklorists note it louder. By the early 1900s, Dudleytown was a ghost town. The last residents had quietly drifted away. The buildings rotted. The forest swallowed what was left. And then, in 1924, Dr. William Clark arrived. Clark was a New York physician, rational, educated, the kind of man who would roll his eyes at ghost stories. He bought land near the abandoned village as a summer retreat. He loved it there. He told his wife he'd never felt more at peace. One evening, he left for the city on a medical emergency. He came back to find his wife outside in the dark, screaming. She had experienced what he would later describe as a total mental breakdown, sudden onset, no prior history, no discernible cause. She was institutionalized. She never returned to normal. Clark sold the property immediately and never spoke about Dudleytown again. There are those who say the curse is a story, a convenient narrative built around coincidences, bad luck, and difficult terrain. The land is rocky. The forest is isolating. Rural colonial life was brutal. Madness and tragedy were common. That's a reasonable argument, but it doesn't fully explain the animals. For decades, wildlife biologists and amateur naturalists have noted something unusual about Dudleytown. There's almost nothing there. No birdsong, no deer. The forest is dense and seemingly healthy, but the life inside it is strangely quiet. Animals don't nest there. Insects are sparse. Scientists have proposed explanations. Soil composition, magnetic anomalies, unusual mineral concentrations. None have been definitive. In the 1990s, a paranormal research group called the New England Society for Psychic Research, the same group founded by Ed and Lorraine Warren, conducted an investigation at Dudleytown. They reported strong electromagnetic anomalies, unexplained temperature drops, and, this is the part they never fully explained, Photographs that came back with light patterns no one on the team could account for. They recommended the site be left alone. The Dark Entry Forest Association agreed. The land is still closed. The security cameras are still there. The forest is still silent. And somewhere in those trees, in the ruins of homes that no one will enter anymore, whatever the Dudley family brought with them from England, or whatever was waiting in those hills long before they arrived, is still there, waiting or watching.